Welcome to the California Maverick, a channel fighting for a free and sane California. I am absolutely 100% convinced that the California politicians in Sacramento, more specifically the Democrat supermajority in Sacramento, don't know how to accomplish or do anything except for spend money. And for some reason, the Democrat way of thinking is spend, 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 go over budget, and when you find yourself in a budget deficit, tax more, take more, and spend more. And it's never enough. Constantly digging a hole. And instead of thinking about how to reduce spending or balance the budget or reduce costs, they just keep on digging themselves into a hole. And when they find themselves so far deep, instead of doing some introspection, self-assessment, and maybe thinking about a different approach, they just continue to dig even deeper. So just when you think California's cost of living couldn't get any higher, think again, because it's going to get worse. If you're new to the channel and or like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe. It helps me out a lot and I would greatly appreciate it. Ronald Reagan, the 40th president of the United States and former Republican governor of California, said it best. We don't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem. A report published by the California Tax Foundation highlighted that California lawmakers are considering 71 bills that will increase annual taxes and fees by more than $16 billion. According to the report, the state faces double-digit operating deficits in the years to come. California leads the nation in taxes and fees. California also has the highest personal income tax, the highest sales tax, the highest gas tax, and currently the 6th highest corporate tax. But that's probably about to change because that is also going up. And I know a lot of people cheer on the increase in corporate taxes and the taxes tied to employee compensation. However, I really think that's a very short-sighted way of viewing things because not only are a lot of corporations small businesses, when the cost of overhead for these businesses increases, whether they be a small business or a major corporation, what do you think that's going to do? That's either going to force a small business to close their doors and go out of business, a corporation to close a particular location or locations, that's less hours for current employees, that's layoffs, that's hiring freezes, which means less job opportunities. So increases in corporate taxes aren't really the win that a lot of people, especially the vote blue no matter who, the socialist communist groups think it is. Now let's talk about how these tax increases are going to affect housing. So California is facing a supply and demand issue in regards to housing. However, that's not the only reason why housing and rents are through the roof in the state. The fees on home builders for the pre-approval process to build is going up and has been steadily and gradually going up the last 50 years. And that is applicable to any single family or multi-family residential housing. The fees and taxes on construction materials are also going up. And one of my favorite housing tax, the vehicle miles traveled tax, is also going up. And I've discussed this before on previous videos. But the VMT tax could add up to $324,000 per home or apartment. And what do you think all these taxes and fees tacked on is going to do? It's going to trickle down to the consumer, to the home buyer. And these taxes also contribute to the lack of supply. If housing wasn't enough, there's going to be increases on healthcare service plans. And here are some of my favorite tax increases: the nickel and diming. Any way to squeeze every last drop of tax revenue. Increase taxes on prepaid phones. Taxes on late night alcohol sales. And one of my personal favorites, because I really like eating grapes, the increased levy on table grapes. Just nickel and diming, squeezing every last bit of juice from the taxpayer. And I know what a lot of people are probably going to say. You're just a MAGA Trump supporter that likes to cut programs and benefits for the least fortunate. Okay, so what benefits and programs are we talking about? Are we talking about the $10 billion for the high-speed rail to nowhere? That seems like it will never get finished. Are we talking about $1.4 billion for the Capitol Annex that nobody wanted except for the California politicians? Or are we talking about the $12 billion for illegal immigrant healthcare? Or are we talking about the programs that will continue to pay tuition for students who have been deported, who shouldn't have been getting taxpayer subsidized education to begin with when they were here? Or are we talking about the $3 billion billion that was lost by the California Air Resources Board. What programs are we talking about? Like I mentioned in the intro, all these politicians know how to do is spend money and somehow lose it. And when they spend too much of your money or lose too much of your money, they appeal to emotion and manipulate the voter base into thinking it's for programs and to help the disenfranchised and the underrepresented voices of California, and for the high-speed rail that's going to make life so much better, or for clean energy programs to save the environment. And when all else fails, they always go back to the good old faithful playbook. It's always the Republicans' fault. Even though it's a Democrat supermajority in California, somehow it's the Republicans' fault. And if it's not the Republicans' fault, it's the evil, greedy corporations and billionaires. And if that doesn't work, they have the new playbook, which they've been using for the last 10, 15 years. Blame it all on Donald Trump.
How can the legislature justify spending $235 million on a rush special election when core programs like education, healthcare, and wildfire prevention are being cut?
So first off, I want to say we're in this crisis because of the federal administration. And this election is going to cost as much as the new ballroom that President Trump wants to build at the White House.
Trump and his cronies, President Trump, Donald Trump.
By a president, our president.
Trump and his allies. Trump's big, ugly bill.
The president.
The authoritarian in the White House. This president.
Donald Trump. Trump mandering and Trump pandering.
Supreme Leader Trump.
President Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. President Trump. His family and his friend Donald Trump's Trump.
But the reality is they're all corrupt, and all they do is obfuscate and distract you from the truth. I wouldn't trust these Sacramento politicians to run a lemonade stand on the corner of my neighborhood, which means they're incompetent or corrupt or both. But they know they can do whatever they want and get away with it, and we will continue to still vote for them in power as long as it says Democrat and they say the right things. The pandering, the virtue signaling, blaming Republicans, evil corporations, and Donald Trump. The majority of us like to stick our head in the sand, ignore it, and let these people just take from us. And somehow we lie to ourselves and con ourselves into thinking we're doing the right thing and helping the disenfranchised and the less fortunate. But the reality is we're only helping the elite who steal from us, making their lives better while the middle class dwindles and the rest of us live in poverty and squalor. If you'd like to know more about the vehicle miles traveled tax, the VMT, I'll have a video linked at the end. It's one of my first videos, but it gives an in-depth look into the VMT. And I'll have the California Tax Foundation report linked in the first comment below. If you like this video, leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.